That's win number 10 for your 2022 Philadelphia Eagles, and they got it done on the ground. Kenny Gainwell hits the end zone right there in the first quarter. How about Josiah Scott, his first career interception in the NFL? Back to the ground game, Miles Sanders, over 100 yards on the day for him. Jalen Hurts finds Quez Watkins for a 30-yard touchdown, and then he goes to his guy, A.J. Brown, in the end zone for the touchdown. Welcome to the Postgame Show, presented by Ricoh. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni, joined by Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. Hold your ears at home, Eagles fans. Ike?
Well, this one is worth it. Victory! Woo!
Oh, goodness.
That was a nice one. That
felt like a good one. 363 yards rushing. That deserves a big-time victory.
No, it really did, and just an awesome game. Obviously, we'll dive into all of the nuts and bolts of the game. Offense played tremendous tonight. Defense certainly could play a little bit better, but they made timely plays. Got to get the special teams shored up. But when I look at this game, Ella and Fran, I'm thinking about how well this Eagles football team ran the ball tonight, whether it was Jalen Hurts using his legs early in the game or when they decided to let the running backs become part of the party as well. And so, great job from Stoutland University, that offensive line up front, opening up holes. But I thought Jalen early in the game on some key third down plays was able to sustain some drives, and he made some big plays with his legs.
No question. And that's the thing, is that Green Bay had no answers for Jalen Hurts as a runner early on in this football game. And that was by design and also outside of structure as well, because a number of those Jalen Hurts runs where he dropped back to pass, saw a lane and took off. That big one, that second third down conversion on the opening drive that got them into the low red zone, that was like a 42-yard run that came on a scramble drill where they lost contain Green Bay's defense. So I think ultimately Jalen's legs, put them in position to take an early lead in this game, and then obviously the backs of the offensive line, Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, a big part of it as well, but really everybody involved with this party. Kenny Gainwell, some key runs. He had a touchdown. Boston Scott, some key runs. He had a couple that went 10+. So everybody is going to be excited about this win.
You got to start with Jalen Hurts because he set the tone in that first drive. He ran for 52 yards in that opening drive that resulted in that Kenny Gainwell touchdown we saw at the open of the show. After the first quarter, he was already over 100 yards. We talked so much about his development on the kickoff show. We talked about his NFL debut was made against the Packers at the end of 2020. To think about his performance then, the quarterback he was now, to see what he did tonight, what do we have in Jalen Hurts, Ike?
Well, you got a special quarterback is what you have, and I think we can put to bed a lot of the questions that entered the season of 2022 about the quarterback here. He's answered every question that anyone has had about him, and then some. When I look at Jalen each week, I'm finding something new that I like about his game. You take, for instance, tonight, he's understanding what defenses are trying to do to him. You know, Fran mentioned they're playing man-to-man coverage early in that first quarter on third down. What Jalen understands, there's no sense of me sitting back here trying to wait for guys to get open. I can pick up the first down with my legs, and I was surprised that Green Bay didn't have any type of spy on Jalen early in the game, and the fact that they lost contain on multiple plays where he was able to get out and run. I know he even had to be surprised that he could run 20 or 30 yards before anyone touches him. I just love his composure, how he seems to have complete control of the game. Even when there's a negative play on the offensive side of the ball, he never seems to be rattled, always positive. I'm thinking about a play, I believe it was in the second quarter, right before the half, and I don't know if we either got a sack or a penalty, but it put us in a third and long situation, and he hits Devontae Smith on the next play, and they get within like a half a yard of picking up the first down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just another. You don't see that from young quarterbacks in this league. And a guy that didn't really come out as a pocket passing quarterback to have an understanding of where he wants to go with the football, I just get more and more impressed each week because I think he's getting better each week.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just having answers to what the defense is going to throw at you. And exactly what Ike said, when the defense comes out and they're going to play man coverage on third down. I know the Eagles were in all black tonight, but that's a green light for Jalen Hurts, and he took off. Sometimes they did spy. He made that spy miss. And that's the thing, is that when you have Jalen, that is his X factor, no question about it. 153 yards passing, 157 rushing, 2 touchdowns through the air. What else can you say about Jalen's performance tonight? Just an outstanding game here against Green Bay.
We're going to check in with Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, who joins us live from Lincoln Financial Field. Dave, there's so much to get to and break down from tonight's win, but what stood out most to you just off the top?
I mean, clearly you guys talked about Jalen Hurts and what a performance from him. The first third down play, he busts the Packers up with that run, and from that point on, the Eagles were literally off and running. But I really thought that it's time now to kind of shout out to the O-line. Green Bay kind of came after Hurts at times with the blitz, and the Eagles' offensive line did an amazing job with the run game, in the pass game. We learned a little bit more about the offense and how they were going to play without Dallas Goedert. The tight end's really not involved again in the passing game, only one target to Grant Calcaterra. The wide receivers more involved. The way that Jalen gathered everyone after the Eagles lost that 13-point lead and that end of first half drive, absolutely huge. Love the way that Reed Blankenship came in and had a takeaway. At the time, it was a very important takeaway. So Eagles, 2 more defensive takeaways. And I just felt like this team doesn't get rattled. There was a change in momentum. The special teams kickoff coverage particularly just wasn't up to par, and the Eagles didn't flinch. And at one point, as Aaron Rodgers exited the game, Green Bay 0 of 5 on third down. So I thought that was really important as well. I thought that's the kind of stuff that stands out. Almost 500 yards of offense before the kneel down. That is remarkable stuff. The Eagles' all-time single-game rushing of a mark of 376 yards, set in 1948, almost broken this evening. So just an incredible performance by a very diverse offense. And I think that's kind of what stands out to me, how diverse this Eagles offense is.
You mentioned the offensive line. You can't eclipse over 300 yards on the ground without those big guys up front getting it done first and foremost. Looking at this matchup before the game, this seemed to be like the easy mismatch, the run game versus the Packers defense that's kind of in the bottom third of the league in rush defense. What did they do to absolutely exploit, however, that kind of mismatch?
Yeah, great job by the Eagles offensive line. And we saw Cam Jurgens used as a tackle eligible at times, so when the Eagles went heavy there, Jurgens was a part of that. I mean, great running lanes inside, great patience from the running backs. All 3 of them got involved in the run game. The Packers missed a lot of tackles in this game as well. And, it was all forward stuff. And Miles Sanders, I mean, we are now through 11 games here. And Miles Sanders, and I'm knocking on wood profusely as I say this, the ball security has been perfect from a player who has had some issues in the past. So you combine an offensive line that's getting it done, opening holes, with a group of running backs that really, the timing is perfect, the confidence is there. I mean, this running game, as prolific tonight, obviously, as it's ever been in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles.
We heard some new names tonight on the field. What under-the-radar players really stood out to you, Dave?
I'm really glad to see Quez Watkins getting some play here. Tough catch at the end of the first half, 50-50 ball, working against Rasul Douglas. Second week in a row, we've seen Watkins reach the end zone. Blankenship steps up and makes a really nice play in place of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Jake Elliott, that last field goal, 54 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a positive for a special teams that was searching for positives on this night here. So those are some of the people that really kind of just stood out to me. I thought some of the interior defensive players played well. I thought Hassan Reddick, although the number's not terrific, I thought he played really hard, really physical football. And again, the Eagles, it felt like they weren't getting a lot done against Aaron Rodgers, but when you look at it as the Eagles took control of the game, the Eagles defense was getting some important stops.
So basically, to wrap this up, the black uniforms, we should just see them every week now, huh?
Well, black uniforms, black helmets, Ella. I mean, why not? Primetime. Eagles now, by the way, 4-1 in primetime, and there's a reason why the national audience loves Philadelphia so much. I mean, again, is this America's team? This is an entertaining football team. The games are back and forth, up and down. I mean, it's physical, it's great football, it's great entertainment. And let's also give a shout out to Trent Cole and Hugh Douglas for their halftime going into the Eagles honor roll ceremony and their speeches as well. Very heartfelt in different ways from both of them.
All right, Dave, thank you so much for your time. That was your Eagles insider, Dave Spadaro, live from Lincoln Financial Field. Real quick, because we have an Eagles legend at the desk, we got to ask you how it feels when you see some of these guys get inducted, Ike.
Oh, it feels great. I mean, especially I got a chance to play with Hugh for 6 years. So, Hugh's like a brother. We stay in touch. We worked at WIP together for years. So, it's great to see him finally get his just due. Trent Cole, no surprise there. Really no surprise with either one of these guys. And then Trent Cole wearing the number 58.
I was going to say.
Listen, I tell him all the time, every time I see a number 58 jersey around this stadium, for a split second, I say, there goes another Ike Reese jersey right there. But I know deep down it's a Trent Cole jersey.
Yeah, tell it to you. I know you had a great memory from the first time you and Trent met. I don't know if you want to share that one.
No, I do. And so off of that story about that being my number, Trent Cole, the first time I got a chance to meet Trent was in the first game in Atlanta in 2005. I'm pretty sure you guys remember that game for another reason in 2005.
Like starting trouble pregame.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys remember that for another reason. But it's the first punt of the game, and Trent is assigned to block me out there on the field. And as we're lined up, he's across from me talking trash, and he said, "Hey, old man, yeah, I know this used to be your number. This is my number now, punk." Yeah. True story. I just bust out laughing right there on the field. That let me know that's the type of player that Trent was, man. By the way, I proceeded to beat him.
I was going to say, that's my only question I had after
I proceeded to beat him down the field with no problem because he was still a young buck, and I was the vet to let him know that, though.
You were the old man.
But he let me know right then and there that, he was here to stay.
Yeah.
And so he's done a great job of representing that number 58, and then to see my boy Hugh get in there.
It's awesome.
It was an awesome night to watch those guys go in.
Exciting night for Eagles fans. They got a huge win, prime time, and to see some Eagles legends. Because it wasn't just them in town, too. There was a bunch.
Yeah, they brought some of the heavy hitters back.
Yeah.
Dalk doesn't come back all that often, so it was great to see Brian in there. B. West was there, Trey was there, all the guys that played with those guys.
Sure.
Those guys, Big Runyon was there, John was there.
His son was playing tonight on the other side.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, and his son. So, obviously he was going to be there as John Runyon Jr. was over there with the Packers. But I think anytime they have the night where the players go into the Eagles Hall of Fame, it's a special night for all of us who are part of this organization. So, and it's great to see guys that I played with and a guy like Trent Cole, who I've admired his entire career just for the way that he plays, for him to get his just due.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get back to the matchup, shall we? Yep. With Dave, we talked about the offensive line. 363 yards on the ground. Breaking records left and right, both as a team and individual players as well. What did we see from the five guys up front? Landon Dickerson, he got banged up a little later on, but the way that they're also able to plug and play other players, Andre Dillard is billed as a tackle. He's playing left guard.
Yeah, I think what you saw first and foremost is the commitment to the running game. And the big fellas, they love it when they realize the game plan is being placed on their back as far as running the football. And we talked about the Packers defense, run defense, being in the bottom third of the league. But we like to throw the ball, but we also can run the football. So I was interested in seeing what would the game plan be like tonight. And it was great to see we came out and said, we're going to run the football and we're going to stick with the run. Jalen, they threw the ball when they needed to. And I know Jalen had 17 rushes tonight, and some of those came on broken plays. But then there were a few quarterback design runs in there, where you see the guard and the tackle pull out in front of Jalen, and he's running behind those guys, a lot what you see down in Baltimore, what they do with Lamar Jackson. So I'm glad the coaching staff is embracing what Jalen brings to the table as a runner. But then I also see Miles Sanders, 21 rushes. Like, I like seeing that from Miles. And this has been Miles' best year as a pro by far.
No doubt.
And it's not just the numbers that he's putting up, it's the way that he's running the football this year and how he's protecting the football. So, when you got an offensive line like we have, all you do is tell those guys, go out and do your job and let the running backs do theirs behind you. And it was a great example of that tonight.
So two things. Number one, the variety that Ike talked about. I think there are two factors that make the Eagles one of the more exotic run games in the NFL. Certainly Jalen Hurts, or what we talked about earlier, his X factor, all the different QB read elements that were involved on some of those designed runs where he's got the ability to either hand it off to the running back or keep it himself. You can now change up your blocking schemes and design it so if it's the quarterback going, you're going to have different guys pulling as opposed to if it's the running back. So all of those things keep the defense off balance. But then you also have the offensive line and the athleticism at the tackle spot. How many times did we see Lane Johnson or Jordan Mailata on the move as a puller inside in this game against Green Bay? Whatever they saw the Eagles in game planning this week, they thought this was going to be a strength for their running game here in this one, and it was outstanding because you saw Lane Johnson leading up as a lead blocker in the hole on tackle power. You saw Jordan Mailata coming across the formation on tackle trap again and again and Green Bay had no answers for it. Just outstanding stuff from this Eagles rushing attack.
Speaking of Miles Sanders, he joins us now from the podium.
I can't. I don't know. I'd be lying to you if I say I knew, but we really don't know which way we're gonna go each game. I just know with the type of players and the talent that we got on this offense, the game plan could go either way. We can, take the air out, take the top off, or we can grind the ball out throughout the game. But that just shows that we're ready for anything, But yeah, just the O-line. I just gotta give credit to the O-line. They love running the ball, so and with them loving to run the ball, it just makes me more confident.
What about the O-line in particular?
Yeah, O-line. I give all the credit to the O-line today. We almost broke the franchise record by like 20. Almost we shot by like 20 yards, but that just shows that we can do this day in, day out, man. Them guys up front, they're something special. So.
What's that feel like when you get the run game cooking like that, and you're just picking up yards at big chunks?
Man, it's a lovely feeling. I ain't gonna lie. And beat a good team like that too with the run game, and it means a lot too. It just shows how much hard work we do each week. Like I said, I gotta give credit not just the O-line, but Coach Stout, because he loves running the ball too, and he has all the confidence in the O-line and running backs especially. So, and yeah, that's what we feed off.
You mentioned earlier that you kind of do it by feel, like as far as grinding it out or throwing over the top. Like, how do you guys know, like in the course of the game, that this is just going to work like crazy?
Well, we kind of get a feeling. I mean, y'all see it. Whatever is working, that's what we're gonna stick to, really, and mix it up a little bit. But especially with the run game, if the run game's working, we're not shying away from the run game. So that's what I feel like, and we've been dominant every time we stick to the run game. So, and like I said, I gotta give credit to the O-line and Coach Stout, because they got all the confidence in us, and that gives me enough confidence too. So.
Well, you said you set a career mark for rushing yards.
I did. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. It's a blessing. Just gonna keep going and keep showing what I can do.
You've talked before about how much Jalen helps the run game, kind of freezing the back end. But what did you see from him on the ground?
Oh, he opened it up today. Yes, he did. I appreciate him for that. But it's good to have a quarterback like him when you can just drop back and if you don't see nothing and it looks cloudy, you can just take off and get about not even just 10 to 20 yards a game, and that's going to kill a defense, and that's going to make them change their play calling, with coverages and stuff like that. So it makes them all discombobulated. So we're trying to, contain all the talent that we have on this offense. So, but yeah, he showed out today.
You had those two 20-plus yard runs on the opening drive. How big was that to kind of get the offense into a rhythm?
Good, just to get past on the other team's side of the field, and once we get over there, just keep going. After explosive play, we right back on the ball. We know teams don't like doing no huddles or playing against no huddle offenses. So, and it plays good to our advantage.
Did you ever think you'd rush for 143 and not be the leading rusher on the team?
No, no. But like I said, man, Jalen, he's playing out his mind this year. He's helping the team in every way. We're winning because of him. Got a lot of respect for that guy, and I just want to keep this thing rolling. That's all. Just keep getting better each and every week.
Something the O-line did that you have to be on the field to appreciate that we can't see watching the game?
Like on the field or during the week. All the work is during the week. The game is just a feel, but the much amount of work that them boys put in each week, with Coach Stout yelling, we can hear in the next room. I gotta give credit, man. I gotta tip my hat off to them boys, and I've been here for 4 years, so watching them do this every day, and nothing changed.
The O-line meeting room and the running back?
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the field that you guys have, passing game versus running game. Do you get a feel for the defense when you're facing those guys and Jalen's making those big runs early, that they're trying to overemphasize things? Do you get a feel for stuff like that?
Yeah, you'll catch certain stuff, It's just hard because, it's on to the next play. But yeah, you catch on the little stuff, and we just make little adjustments on the sideline. We'll tell the coaches and inform them what they're doing up front. The line will communicate with me. What do I see? I'll communicate with them like, yeah, I see this, and he'll tell me what they're doing, and just expect this. It's a lot of communication going on. That's what leads to our success.
When Jalen has long runs like that, how much do the rest of the backfield feed off of his energy when he has those two big runs? Like where is he?
Yeah, when we run our inside zones, it's just you got linebackers and DNs guessing because you don't know if we're going to run it up the middle and get 5 to 10, or you don't know if he's going to pull it and get 10, 20. So it puts the defense in a not a good spot, but it helps us a lot.
After scoring only 17 last week, did the offense have kind of like extra motivation to kind of get back to where you guys were previously?
No, not really. It's just we haven't played our best game yet this year, and that's all we're trying to focus on doing each and every week is just play penalty free, and mistake free, turnover free, and just really dominate the whole game. That's our goal each and every week. And that's what we're chasing. It's not really what we did last week. We got to do this. It's just chasing greatness every week, just trying to be dominant as possible.
You never shy about their love for running the football. You get a sense of how much they enjoy it in the game.
Oh yeah, they cussing at me, telling me, "Come on, man." Lane's always cussing at me, so I love it. I love the passion. Like I said, it just gives me super confidence out there, just to just go out there and tilt the rock.
Anything else? Okay. Thanks, Miles.
A career day for Miles Sanders. He hit a career high rushing touchdowns with number 7, and then he followed it up with number 8 a little later on. Before we keep breaking things down, I want to remind Eagles fans to head to the Facebook comments for our Ask Ike segment. You can ask Ike any questions you have, and he will answer them right here on the show. To the best of his ability.
To the best of my ability.
That's always how to follow it up. We started talking about Miles Sanders where I had to cut you off, Fran, but it truly is, even from a numbers perspective, his best year of his career. Now, of course, everyone's knocking on wood now. He has stayed healthy, but Dave also mentioned the way he's been able to play such clean football. 0 fumbles for Miles Sanders. He's a patient runner now. He's finding the end zone, and he's protecting the football. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I talk to Brian Westbrook often about Miles Sanders and him running the football. And the one thing B brings up a lot prior to this year that he sees different from Miles is that Miles is making people miss. So you at least make 1 or 2 guys miss on every play. And to be that special back, that's what you have to have the ability to do. There's always going to be 1 or 2 unblocked guys on the play. Those special running backs have the ability to make those 1 or 2 unblocked guys miss. And I think that's what we're seeing from Miles Sanders, not only in the open field, in some of these tight areas when he gets through the line of scrimmage. And at that second level, we've seen where he's made either a linebacker miss or a safety miss there and pick up an extra 4 or 5 yards. So, and not going down on first contact. These are things that I'm seeing different from him just from his running style.
I mean, we saw the game-sealing play, that final play of scrimmage before the Eagles knelt on the ball. It was 3rd and 3, and Miles Sanders picks up 4 by making that first man miss. And again, a play might be blocked for 2 or 3 yards, but those special backs, like that Ike mentioned, you have that play where it's blocked for 3, you get 4, you get 5, and that's exactly what Miles did on that one. And just kind of going through some of the numbers as we were listening to Miles talk there, the Eagles 7.4 yards per carry on 49 carries here in this game. What's crazy about it, though, they had 4 quarterback sneaks and a kneel down. So if you remove the quarterback sneaks, which are only going to go for like 1 or 2, and the kneel down goes for -2, that's 7.4. That's like up close to 8. Just an unbelievable performance running the football against this Packers defense.
He, of course, gives so much credit to Jeff Stoutland, and that's where it begins because this offensive line is making a way for him to make plays on the football field. Yep. But you got to give Jamal Singleton credit as well. You have to think about Miles Sanders' development under Jamal Singleton, and then the way that Singleton is able to kind of work in Kenny Gainwell, use Boston Scott in situational areas is just as impressive as what Stoutland does with the 5 up front.
Yeah, I agree with you. And having a position coach that knows your strengths and your weaknesses and has the ability to communicate with you that, listen, I know you want to be the bell cow, but you know what? You're going to need a break here or there, so we're going to make sure we get Kenny Gainwell in there to get some touches, even Boston Scott in there to get some touches. And I've seen Miles, I like this running back room because they like each other. I've seen Miles where he'll look to the sideline and call one of the guys to come in, even when they're down there in the red zone. So having that trust and that confidence in your teammates that, you know what, if I'm not ready to go on this play, bring in another guy with fresher legs and strong. He's just as good. He can go in there and make plays as well. Really an unselfish room. And that can't necessarily be said about every running back room around the league. Touches are at a minimum in this league nowadays, and every running back wants the ball every time they can get it. So to see those guys have that sharing power, you're absolutely right. Coach Singleton being able to relay that to his guys in that room, it makes for a better team overall.
I mean, you've been around some great position coaches. The position coach kind of sets that culture in that room, and he sets the tone, isn't it?
Yeah, and playing for guys like Ron Rivera, Steve Spagnuolo, having coaches that understand each individual, right, and then has the ability to communicate with them as to what's your role going to be on the team. I heard Coach Sirianni talking about this early in the week, where he sat guys down prior to the season and explained to them what their individual role is going to be. And if every individual embraces that role and fulfills that role to the best of their ability, it's going to make the entire team a better team. And that's the one thing this entire staff has been able to do with all these young players, because everybody wants to play. And when you're winning, everybody wants to be a part of that. And so to have guys be unselfish and willing to sacrifice for your teammates, it really speaks to the culture that's in the building.
Talk about understanding your role. Another game without Dallas Goedert, watching these players try to adapt and figure out their roles within kind of an adjusted scheme without Dallas, because he is such a big part of this offense. He actually took to Twitter. He's been super excited watching these games. He gave you a good EAGLES on Twitter.
Pretty simple.
Keep it simple. He's watching. But Nick Sirianni is now going to join us at the podium.
Drive, Jalen had a couple huge scrambles there. I think they were both 20-plus yard gains. Did seeing that early make you think that you should change the game plan to something that was more run-heavy? Was that something that you planned to do going in?
No, we didn't. We obviously got a game plan going in to see what we were going to do, and that's why you plan all week. That's why you go through it. Those plays that he makes off schedule, those are bonuses, right? And so you still have your plan that you want to get to and that you want to do, and so it just kind of happened that he had some big yards off schedule, and that's what Jalen does. That's where he's special, really special, is he can make those plays with his feet. To be in a city like this with the quarterback history that this city has, it's in that he set a record for most yards by a quarterback rushing. It's pretty special. That's some unbelievable names that he's following there.
Hey Nick, you kind of felt bad for those guys, all those guys on defense getting hurt while you're running your offensive plays. Feel bad for them?
Hey, I no comment.
Nick, did you realize that, it's almost like a track meet out there probably for them the way you guys were?
Yeah, and so I get, and guys are gonna, when you're going fast and things like that, guys, it was hot out there too. It was way hotter, so cramps happen and injuries happen. I get it.
Nick, what do you think of your defense's performance?
They were able to create some turnovers, which was really big, in the first half. And we were able to hit Aaron Rodgers, and we needed to, because he's an unbelievable player. He's an outstanding football player, and so we needed to be able to hit him and get to the quarterback, because we know we have the guys too. What I was disappointed in the first half is that the offense and the special teams put the defense in some short situations. One was my fault. We didn't get it on fourth down, and I went for it. And then the other one, we had a fumble, and so. And then the special teams one. So all their possessions in the first half, they didn't have to go the long way, And with Aaron Rodgers, you don't want to give him any short fields. And we gave him 3, and they made us pay for it. And so that was I thought we played much better in the second half, with minus the big play that we gave up to Christian Watson. He can really roll, But it was what I was more upset with. It was the position that we were putting the defense in. Now we got to stop them and create, 4-point plays down there on third down in the red zone. Rodgers made a really good play to Aaron Jones on that scramble. I don't know if that was third down or not. That you guys could help me out with that. It was 2nd and 20. Yeah, so he got him out of a bind right there. But that's what I was more disappointed in.
You mentioned 4th and 1. On 3rd and 1, it seemed like the overhead view of the camera showed that maybe Jalen had got it. Did you get that really down?
Well, I did not. And so, those are hard too. Like and every timeout's precious, right? And so, we have to really feel confident that we'll win that if we challenge it, and we just didn't in that particular case. And and there's things like obviously I'm not seeing that, and I'm trusting my eyes upstairs, and and they've been great all year, and so I trust what they say, and I think I'm getting good information from them. And of course, sometimes, right? We don't know exactly where the knee was, and maybe it looks like we got it, but can you tell with where where he's down and everything like that? So, I love the guys upstairs there, and they're giving me great information, and and then I went for it the next play with a very similar play, and it didn't work. So, and we put the defense in a tough spot because of my decision.
Nick, on Jake Elliott's 4-yard field goal, was there any hesitation there? I mean, you sent this out, they announced in the press box on the punt.
They did?
Yeah.
No, because no hesitation. Aaron's the holder, so I don't know if that's what they. We got to get on our press box guy because I was going with Jake the whole time. Was that?
I said thanks, Ed.
I was going with Jake. I was going with Jake the whole time. That's when you have a kicker like Jake Elliott, you trust him to make those situations, make those kicks in those situations, and he drilled it. And that's why he is who he is. That's why he's, our kicker. That's why he's done so many of the things that he's done in this league, and we have so much faith in him. That was a huge kick to go up 10, to go up 2 scores in that scenario is enormous. And operation by the entire field goal unit, by Aaron, by Rick, but there was no hesitation. And we know where we feel comfortable before the game. Our special teams coaches do a good job of communicating that with me, of where we feel comfortable, where Jake feels comfortable. And Jake's always going to say, hey, I got a couple more yards than what they even told you there. So Jake's got great confidence, and that gives you confidence as a coach when your kicker has that much confidence.
Was there any common theme you thought between some of the long returns the Packers had tonight?
Yeah, Elliot, I'm gonna have to watch that. Obviously, we probably were out of our lanes. How does that happen? You get out of your lane, somebody makes a mistake here or there, and we got just flat out got to coach it better. And so we're all in this together. So I have to look at it. Obviously, that's an issue that we can't have. Like that we have 3 returns like that they get to midfield. That guy's a good returner, but we just can't put ourselves in that position and put our defense in that position. We got to get it fixed. We'll do everything we can to get it fixed, but I can't tell you yet what the common theme is. But we'll work like crazy to let you know tomorrow.
Talking about common themes, I don't know if you probably got asked about the running game, so sorry coming in a little
I don't think
late,
I have yet.
But
Yeah.
when you're doing it that well, you have the quarterback who's got a career high, the running back has a career high.
Was Miles a career high too?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You almost set a franchise record.
How close were we?
15 yards away. Yeah.
Is that right? That's sweet. They'll get a game ball.
Well, you say 200.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, super game ball.
Do you get a feel in game of that?
Oh, sure.
We gotta keep this
Yo,
going.
sure. Yeah. You feel that. You feel that. Lane, man, I love when Lane Johnson comes off the field and it's juiced up. He's crushing the edge or crushing his combination block with Isaac, and so you feel that from the players. You obviously feel that in the flow of the game, and that's where Shane and I are in constant communication. And Shane's doing a great job of getting the plays called, and I might say to him during that drive, "Hey, run it again," because you feel that, right? You feel that, and so that was special. that was a special game running. And obviously we got some off-schedule things too, right? And so with Jalen making big plays, I don't know how many were off scrambles, how many yards with his were off scrambles, but we sure as heck got a lot of big plays from him on that. But you definitely feel that in the game, and you feel that when the players come off the field, and you feel it mid-drive, and you feel it when you're down in the red zone, all those different things. And so Shane did a good job calling it. Obviously, our players, man, this is unbelievable offensive line. Jack Stoll coming in and blocking his butt off. When you rush for that many yards, the receivers are doing their part as well. And so good just team run offense today. And third down too, third down, like some big runs on third down. Those were huge third down runs.
At what point in the offseason or in training camp did you first start to really notice Reed?
Yeah, a couple of the guys I coached with in Indy were at Middle Tennessee State, and when we signed him to rookie free agent deal, they said, this guy's a stud. You don't understand this guy. We love this guy. This guy, one of them was Parks Frazier. He's just like, man, you don't understand how special that kid was for us. And then I saw, we did something our last preseason game, and he was like a 5-year starter. His stat line was unbelievable, but you noticed him. You noticed him early, and then here's where you really noticed him, and that's a good question. I'm glad you asked this question. When we went live with our young guys, because we went live, and as you guys saw it, we went live pretty much once a day with our young guys when we had pads on, and it just seemed like every time he was coming up and making tackles, and you were like, man, this guy, we liked him without pads on, and now we really like him when he's able to show his physicality out in the field, and so I think that's where we really start talking about him more and more and more, and so. Yeah, that was a big time play, and then he made some big time tackles, and he did that. And I'm thinking about it, the Miami game. I know we got whooped in that Miami preseason game, but some of the tackles he was making in that game, and it was on display in training camp. It was on display in preseason games.
Two more. Versus address the decision making by Jalen tonight. I mean, his stat line is a little skewed. He's had a lot of smart throwaways. And also, can you address him sort of rising to the moment? Sunday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers in the house, and he has one of the better games he's had in his short career.
Yeah. That's who Jalen is. I don't think he's fazed by a moment, by any of the moments. I thought he made great decisions out there. Obviously, I'll have to go look at all the plays. I'll probably, 12-10, I'll probably do that tonight. It's going to be hard to go to sleep after one like that. But I'll go grade the tape and see what his decisions. But I thought he made really good decisions. He's got great ideas coming off the sideline and say, hey, I think we can get to this. I think we can get to that. And when he does that, we really trust him. We really trust that, because he's seeing it really well. So I just think that's the next step that he's taking, that he's being able to tell us on the field what he's seeing, what he likes, and go out and execute, and us trusting him because he's got a lot of money in the bank with us, right? Of like, hey, every time he comes out and tells us that, he makes it work when he does it, and so I think that's a big part of the decision making and the big next step of the decision making. But yeah, he had a special game tonight, a really special game tonight, and it was good. I get you.
Versatility of the offense when you're looking at what your scheme, what you want it to be, and how much of what this offseason was spent making it more of that, because based upon what we saw lately. Sure,
you never want to be one dimensional in anything, so you're trying like crazy. You'll do whatever you got to do to win that game, and sometimes you don't. Shoot, we didn't. I'd be lying if I said, hey, Jalen's going to rush for. We said earlier this week that Jalen was going to rush for 150 yards. I mean, so you get the flow of the game and get that, but you never want to be one-dimensional. So I think we've shown that we can win throwing the football. I think we've shown we can win running the football offensively. And that's important because in the playoffs you have to do both, right? And in the playoffs, and when you want to go where you want to go, you got to be able to do both. You want to win big games, you got to do both. That's important. So to win big games, you have to be able to run and throw the ball, and you can't be one-dimensional. And I think that's where what we've been able to do.
When Jalen breaks off those long runs, how much does that help the passing game? I mean, still do 2 touchdown passes tonight, and with all the gaudy running numbers.
Yeah, I think that's big. I think it's big because it forces the defense to have to, take one of their coverage guys and account for Jalen with it, right? Or know where Jalen is at least, right? And so when that, you give a little, you get a little, right? If I need to put another guy to make sure Jalen isn't getting loose, then that's one less guy in coverage. If I have to tell the defensive line not to rush a certain way because Jalen can be able to break out, then, typically on that, you tell him don't just jet up the field, and because this guy's going to get through the line of scrimmage and make a play. So when teams do that, what happens there? Well, you get more time to throw the football, right? So you have more time to sit back there and digest everything. So, that's huge, right? To be, the plays that he made with his feet will help us moving forward, him making plays in the pocket and vice versa. That's why it's just a great team game and there's so much chess match going on in it right there that it's important that you don't limit yourself of what you do and the things you can accomplish out there. So, he had a special game today.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Nick Sirianni has become the 5th head coach in franchise history, under Jeffrey Lurie, to win 10-plus regular season games in a season. Pretty impressive by Nick Sirianni just in his second year at the helm. But we actually have a question in our Ask Ike segment. A fan left a question in the Facebook comments. Ike, at this point in the season with a 10-1 record, what advice would you give this team from your experience during the 2004 season?
Well, this team's a little different than that team. That team was a team that had played together for a while and already knew what it was like to be in the postseason and go on long postseason runs. Because in 2004, I believe that would have been our 5th straight year in the postseason. You just got to take every game as its own individual game. You really do have to focus on the next game and not get caught looking ahead to any game or predetermining whether or not you're going to win this game or what's our record going to be at the end of the year, because those teams that they face the rest of the year are all looking to knock the Eagles off. So the Eagles are going to get everyone's best output. I hadn't seen Green Bay look like this all season. So, just think about it. It's Sunday night. Green Bay comes out and they play well because they're going up against a team that has the ability to embarrass you. And because the Eagles are so good, they're going to get everyone else's best shot. So I would simply just say, just try to remain in the moment, go week to week. As cliche as that sounds, that's really what you have to do. And I believe they have the players here to sort of keep everyone focused on that. Fletcher and Jason and Lane and Brandon, those guys were also 10-1 not too long ago, and they knew what it took. Even after going 10-1, they wound up losing out there in Seattle, and then you get what happened to Carson out there in L.A., and now there's a different outlook on the season, but they remain together. So I say that to say your fortunes can change in any game. You just don't know. So you almost have to just stay locked in on that game.
And it's great to have the veterans that preach that, but also the young players that are on this team. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. You look at some of the other players that they've acquired in the draft over these last couple of years. That is the motto, the mantra that they preach over and over and over again. Jalen Hurts will always be every week is a one-game season. That's going to be the way that he lives for the rest of the time that he plays this game.
I think what's interesting going off of that question, in 2004, things looked a lot different in terms of you didn't have social media swarming constantly. If you think about, especially when the Eagles are playing more primetime games, all these morning shows all week long this week are going to be what the Eagles looked like tonight. And they're going to hear it. Whether you believe that they do or they don't, it's inevitable that they're going to pick up what's being said outside of this building. And that's where things can get a little difficult, and that's when you rely on the veterans who've been in this position before, but you also rely on some of the younger guys who had successful college careers. Earlier in the season when the team was 8-0, I was asking guys like Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts and Jordan Davis how their college careers prepared them for being on a good football team in the NFL, and they were just like, okay, we've done this. We know how to be in these positions. Jalen Hurts a few weeks ago said, I forget, did he have an undefeated
He
season?
He said, I've been 8-0 before. He was like, I've been 8-0 before.
And I lost the national championship, or I lost the SEC championship. So he knows how quickly this can all go away.
Yeah.
Well, those guys certainly that played at Bama know what it's like to be in the spotlight year in and year out and dealing with high expectations. And you're right, Ella, having a quarterback that understands that and has played in that position and under that sort of microscope will certainly help playing in a city like Philadelphia, because no fan base loves its football team like the city of Philadelphia does. And when you're winning the way this team is winning right now, during this time of the year, everybody wants a piece of every player, every Eagle that's available. So I would also give advice to don't spread yourself too thin, right? It's okay to embrace the winning that's going on right now, but also make sure you keep yourself isolated to the standpoint you don't lose focus on what you're trying to do. Because this time of the year, everybody wants appearances, they want autographs, they want you to be at signings, and everybody wants a piece of you as a player, and you have to know that it's okay to say no, because you have a bigger job and a bigger task at hand right now. And we talk about the quarterback. There's no better example on this team than how he handles his business on a daily basis. This guy is locked in the meeting rooms from 5 o'clock till it's time to go home in the evening. So he's a great example, and he's a type of player and leader that if he feels the need to remind anyone, he'll be able to do that.
He said it this week. He sets the temperature in this room, and we saw here tonight why that's so important for him to have that type of leadership role. Well, his wide receiver, A.J. Brown, just spoke about Jalen Hurts himself in the locker room.
I think that's a natural gift he has, how he runs the ball, his leg, how he uses his legs, which we're definitely going to need down the line. He did a really good job today on the ground and making stuff happen. When the pressure got in his face, and they just showed his ability just to get out of the pocket. So he did a really good job today.
A.J. Brown had 4 receptions, 46 yards, and that touchdown. How did you see the Eagles offense try to incorporate the passing game, although the running game was so successful?
You could tell they wanted to run the football first and foremost tonight. I looked up after the first quarter, and I was like, we got 6 yards passing in the first quarter. I think we had over 100 and some yards rushing in that first quarter. But when they needed to throw the ball, they had the ability to throw the ball. And we just saw A.J., and I know A.J. Brown expects more of himself. And he's had a couple weeks here where the ball has been placed on the ground. And the thing I like about him is that he's not going to lose confidence. He's not going to lose confidence in himself, and neither is Jalen going to lose confidence, and neither are these offensive coaches. It's just something that, he's trying to fight his way through this right now. He obviously doesn't want to put the ball on the ground. But I thought from a throwing standpoint, whenever Jalen needed to throw the ball, he was able to throw it.
0 picks. That's the big thing, is you want to continue to try and protect the football. We talked about that on the kickoff show tonight, was just don't give that Green Bay Packers team any freebies offensively. Now, they did have the turnover, the A.J. Brown fumble. They had a turnover on downs. And that's the thing, is when I look at this Eagles defensive performance that we haven't really talked about yet, I think a big thing is that a lot of those, they had 4 scoring drives, Green Bay, where they had the ball to start at least at their own 40-yard line. So if you're starting at midfield, you are already basically starting on second base as an offense. And so ultimately, I think this defense, I know the numbers don't necessarily paint it that way when you look at the scoreboard, but ultimately, this is a team that went 1 for 7 on third down. They did an outstanding job getting off the field. You had a couple sacks. You had a couple more turnovers. Overall, a solid performance here from this defense, considering what they had to deal with from a sudden change standpoint.
We're going to keep talking about the Eagles defense in just a second, but I want to remind Eagles fans to head to the Facebook comments for our Ask Ike segment. You can ask Ike any questions you have, and he will get them answered right here on the show. Now, if you were tuned in last week to the Postgame Show, someone, possibly named Fran Duffy, asked Ike in the Facebook comments about his Thanksgiving meal.
It was an important question.
It was. The hard-hitting journalism is getting done on this show, okay? So Ike went on to explain his infamous mac and cheese. Well,
look at the color on that.
Since Ike's the man, there we are in the office on Friday.
Wow.
Ike dropped off a tray of his famous mac and cheese.
I should have known this was going to show up. I should have known that. Well, I'm glad it looked good.
Oh, it looks amazing. Are you kidding?
Can we go back to that picture?
Look at the color on that mac and cheese.
Also, Fran with the spoon.
I was excited. Look at the look on my face.
All right, well, we're having a lot of fun. Jalen Hurts is dealing with the media across the street at Lincoln Financial Field. Here's QB1.
how crucial was it for it to be kind of multi-dimensional in terms of your game tonight?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
You used both your legs and your arm tonight, and just talk about your ability to kind of multi-dimensional in terms of different factors to help get this win tonight for you.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned all the time. I've mentioned often the importance of being able to attack teams in different ways, and I feel like for us as a football team, as an offense, it's like your favorite steakhouse, your favorite restaurant, 5-star. Bougie restaurants you like to go to. You have your steak of the day, your selection of the day, the chef's selection. I feel like for us, we can kind of do it all. We have to. I think we do everything at a pretty consistent basis. That's what we strive for, and I think we've done that at moments this year, and I think that's our standard. And I feel like there'll be games where I have a day like this or impacting the game on the ground. There's a day where AJ's got 3 touchdowns in the first half. There's a game where Smitty, has 150 in the first half. It's a ton of different scenarios and ways that this thing can go as an offense, and I think that has helped us a lot, being able to be diverse. And, at the end of the day, make myself clear, the most important thing is winning. And that's what we came out here and did today, regardless of how it looked. Any week, we just want to win. I just want to win and get it done.
How can you teams running the ball well? Do you get any sense from the defense, frustration, level rising, or any exasperation outside the ball?
I think we try and control the things that we can. That is my constant message to the guys. It's on both sides of the ball. We go out there and control the things we can. Good things typically happen. If you don't, you're not dictating the outcome of things. So I think for us, on both sides of the ball, special teams, offensively, defensively, we just have to, continue to learn from the things that we're supposed to learn from, our mistakes. I think, I have moments in this game where I'm like, I could have possibly extended this to a 3-possession game instead of a 2-possession game, or kind of had they had we had 2 turnovers defensively, but we had two turnovers offensively with the turnover on downs, kind of a miscommunication there. Kind of got away with one on the other side of the ball because they kind of simulated the snap, but and then we had to fumble. Those are all things that we can control. So I think in the end, it's about every individual dominating their box, doing what they're supposed to do, and we take a great deal of pride in doing it that way. So it's an everlasting climb. We're trying to, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. That's the mentality that we have. It's the mentality I have, and we just want to continue to grow from the good and the bad.
Were they ever spying you?
I have to watch the film.
Why do you think you had so many rushing yards early on?
I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest. I ran and they couldn't get me.
You passed Mike Vick for most rushing yards by quarterback in Eagles history. Knowing your appreciation for the history here, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. I have a great deal of respect for those guys, the guys that have come before me. Randall, Mike, McNabb, and just the way they played the game. I always talk about how I admire the way they played the game, and to be thrusted into that category and different things, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, and it's a lot of hard work going into it. I have a ton of respect for them and their support, and they don't even know how they've affected me and impacted me in my time here, and it's an understatement to say how much I appreciate them, because I do, and they've guided me in more ways than they don't even know. So I appreciate them, and I appreciate this team.
What's it like when you and Miles are kind of playing off each other and running the way you guys both did tonight?
Yeah, I think anytime we can play complementary football in any phase. Like I said, there's times where it's Miles, it's Boston, it's Kenny, it's myself, it's AJ, it's Devontae, it's Quez, it's Dallas.
it's whoever. It's just it's every guy taking advantage of the opportunity when it comes, and that's something that you work for. And my message to the team, if we're being honest, was we invest so much time into this. You work so hard for this. You miss time with family. You work early, late nights and early mornings. You put so much time into this. So, go out there and give it your all. Go out here and play together. Appreciate this time we have to play this game, and show some gratitude towards it by playing to the standard.
Nick's message to the team last night was along those lines, right? What would high school Jalen think of this performance tonight?
Yeah, it's been some games like this in high school. We showed a clip. See if I don't know if the clip is out there. I don't know, but pretty cool clip, a memorable clip. I think it's cool that. I thought that was so fun, to be honest. I thought that was fun. I mean, BG, he's on the cover of this magazine in 2005. Like, I was ball boying for my dad in 2005. Like, he was in high school when I was a little kid. You know what I mean? Like, just the different personalities we have on this team, the time differences, and the young guys, the old guys, the experienced guys in this area, the younger guys that have experienced certain things or whatever. It's a unique team, and I think Coach Sirianni, I respect how he approaches having thought about what he presents to us as a head coach. I really appreciate that.
When you're able to run the ball like you're doing the ball tonight, does it make it a lot easier for you in the passing game that you get the feeling that you can dictate anything you want to the defense when you're running, especially in the
I don't think I think you just have to go out there and respond to what they're giving you. You have to be able to see what they're giving you and react to it accordingly and appropriately. And I feel like we were able to do that majority of the time today. There were some unique things that they did, and I think we tried to overcome them. We did. I think in the end, can we control the things that we can control? That's one of them. The how we respond to the ball security situation, that's another. And it's the little details. It's everybody. It's myself. It's everybody. So
This offensive line seems to really enjoy running the football in a game like that. Do you see that from them? How much they like the way that game works?
This offensive line, this team, this team enjoys doing whatever needs to be done to win. This team enjoys the feeling of winning, and like I said, we put this work in. We talked about some of these things. So execution fuels emotion. You go out there and you talk about something, your coach is on your butt about something throughout the week. You need to do it this way. You need to do this. And you go out there and execute it at the most important moment of the game. Execution fuels emotion. Because I know I put time into this. I know I invested my time into this throughout the week. There may be something that I may make a mistake on in practice, but come game time, I capitalize and learn from my experience throughout practice and come do it the right way in the game. Execution fuels emotion, and we do all of this stuff together. We do all this stuff together. We go to work every day together. We live together. We run together. We feel pain together. We feel these joyous moments together. We go through all this stuff together. So, I know in a profession where things change all the time, we really want to appreciate the time we are having now, and just take advantage of our moments. Take advantage of opportunities when they're presented, and just play ball the way we want to play ball.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
That's all.
Jalen Hurts said a lot of very important things in that press conference, but I just need to revel in the fact that we did match. And it's a pretty big deal if you're matching QB1 because Jalen Hurts knows how to dress.
Yeah, you're missing one piece of.
There we go.
One piece there. It's that little thing, that silver thing around his neck.
That ain't little. I'll have my people talk to his people, see what I can do to score something like that, and then we'll really be.
Your drip is nice, though. Yes, I like it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to enjoy these last few moments because normally you can't match Jalen Hurts.
No, listen, I was wondering if he was going to wear the outfit in tonight because it's so late. But yeah, when you have a game like he had tonight, that's a podium outfit.
A+. So
yeah. He needed to wear that to the podium tonight. That looked nice. He looked good coming into the stadium tonight.
And Devontae, as always, always looks great. Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy the last few minutes of matching Jalen Hurts. Well, since it was a big night on the ground, naturally, Fran, of course, had to break down that Miles Sanders' first touchdown of the night in this week's Ricoh Review.
All right, so for this week's Ricoh Review, I want to look back to Miles Sanders' first touchdown run of the night. It was a 15-yard run off a very exotic play that the Eagles have in their playbook. Not every team runs tackle trap. And let's take a look at exactly what tackle trap is. First, let's start with the second part of that term, a trap block. And essentially what you're doing with a trap block is you're allowing a defensive lineman to get up the field free. You're not going to block him at all off the snap, and you are essentially trapping him by bringing an offensive lineman from the opposite side to collision him in the backfield. Now, not only does that allow you to get a good block and create a crease for the running back, but it also allows you to take those two offensive linemen, in this case, Jason Kelce and Landon Dickerson, and let them get up to the second level because they're not worried about blocking the defensive tackle. Now, because that offensive lineman has to travel a long way, typically teams will make that a guard that will have to go just a couple of gaps over to block the defensive tackle. But the Eagles have the best and most athletic pair of starting offensive tackles in the NFL with Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. With both of those players having so much range and athleticism, that allows them to run tackle trap much more often than most teams, where you're going to have Lane Johnson come from 3 gaps over and block the defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, in the backfield. So we're going to let this run, and we're going to see exactly what that means for the rest of the offense, because once you got Lane creating that crease in the defensive tackle, look at the lane that Miles Sanders has here getting up to the second level. Jason Kelce, again, he's reaching up to a safety, untouched. Landon Dickerson, he's peeling back for the linebacker, untouched. A.J. Brown is running off the corner. So, in theory, Miles Sanders won't have anybody to worry about at the second level. Now, he's going to have to deal with some contact here, and give a lot of credit to Miles Sanders for running through contact as we let this roll. He shakes the defensive tackle at the line of scrimmage, and now you've got Miles running into the end zone. Outstanding job here from Miles, breaking through that initial tackle at the line of scrimmage and getting up to the second level for a touchdown. The Eagles scoring on tackle trap to extend the lead in the first half.
Now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. All right, fellas, who's it going to be? 3 nominees. We're starting with Reed Blankenship. Welcome to the NFL. Picking off Aaron Rodgers. Up next, Jalen Hurts, obviously 153 yards through the air, 2 passing touchdowns, over 150 yards on the ground. And then Miles Sanders, 21 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Who are we going with?
Well, I mean, you guys know me, man. I love my offense. But, I mean, listen, Reed Blankenship, come on, man. First interception ever from an undrafted rookie off Aaron.
No, you're not actually doing it.
I got to go Reed Blankenship tonight. Got to go Reed Blankenship. Great job, young man.
What was the stat you said earlier? It was Reed Blankenship was the first.
He's the first undrafted rookie to ever pick off Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Reed Blankenship.
There you go.
That's not enough.
That's not worthy?
No, it's Jalen Hurts. This is the one time you're going to go defense. No, it's absolutely Jalen Hurts this week. I would be shocked if he does not win it.
Ike's Toyota selections this year are so inconsistent.
Well, I just want to be opposite of Fran. That's
Okay.
all. I'm just making sure I'm opposite of him.
All right, we'll get your votes in, Eagles fans, on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Jameson Nightcap, let's move on, shall we? Another home game for the Eagles. The Tennessee Titans are coming to town.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. We are back to a normal Sunday. They're 7-4. They still sit first in the AFC South today. They lost to the Bengals 20-16. Ryan Tannehill, he missed a few games with injury. Malik Willis, the rookie, took his spot for a little bit, but another vicious running back is coming to town, and Derrick Henry. The Eagles did a great job in containing Aaron Jones tonight. Another big challenge come Sunday.
Yeah, King Henry coming in next week, and we know this is arguably the most difficult running back to stop in the league if he gets a head of steam going. Game tackling is obviously going to be important. But when you look at this matchup, Tennessee really only has one way to beat you, and that's running the football and playing good defense. So I expect it to be sort of a game that Tennessee tries to shorten as far as limiting the Eagles' possessions, because they can't outscore you if the Eagles are going to put up 40 points like they did tonight. Next week will be about getting off the field on third down and stopping King Henry.
Yeah, I think when you look back to the game that they played against the Packers a couple Thursdays ago, that was their plan of attack, Green Bay. They said, we are going to sell out to stop Derrick Henry. We're going to play 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage, and we're going to force Ryan Tannehill to beat us. And Ryan Tannehill beat them. He threw for 250 and a couple touchdowns. Now, the big thing, though, and this is going to be this is a heavyweight matchup. When you have this Eagles rushing attack who went for 363 here tonight, then going up against arguably the #1 run defense in the NFL, the Titans have been outstanding stopping the run. They have been limiting opposing ball carriers to just embarrassing amounts of yardage on the ground, and they do it with light boxes. They have a bunch of guys that just want to beat the snot out of you on every single play. They've got 280-pound defensive ends. They've got heavy, disruptive defensive tackles, linebackers that love to play downhill. This is going to be a really fun matchup between 2 heavyweights there in the run game.
Bit of an advantage that the Eagles played late tonight because they actually got to watch the Titans play earlier today, get a little pre-scouting going on before they played tonight.
Yeah, I think number 11 will be pretty excited about this game.
I think so. He'll be geared up for this one.
Pretty excited about this game this week. But Fran's right. It's going to be a heavyweight matchup. When you get 2 teams that their strengths basically are going to have to oppose one another, this will be a test of will. This will be a test of will. Will the Titans come in and impose their will on this Eagles defense? I don't believe so. We take it personal. You're not coming in here to run the football down our throat, so I can't wait to watch this matchup.
And I think back to the last time that the Eagles have played a defense where they're the #1 run defense, and they do it with light boxes and real physical play up front. Well, that was the New Orleans Saints last year. The Eagles ran for 200+. The Saints the year before, the Eagles ran for 200+. Very similar in terms of what you'll see, but we'll see if the Eagles, they have to go out and execute next Sunday.
Can they go for win number 11? Our team here at Eagles Entertainment will have you covered all through the week to get you set for the Tennessee Titans next Sunday for 1 o'clock kick. But for now, for myself, Fran Duffy, and Ike Reese, thank you so much for watching. The Eagles are 10-1. As always, go Birds.